This isn't over. You know what happens now.
The rain-slicked streets of San Francisco gleamed under the sodium glow of street lamps as Alex Rivera stormed into the gleaming tower of Apex Dynamics, his heart pounding like a war drum. He had one shot to expose the monster at the top, Elias Kane, the cutthroat CEO whose waterfront redevelopment plan would gut the Mission District's soul, displacing families and erasing history for luxury condos that no one in the neighborhood could afford. But as Alex burst through the boardroom doors, drenched and wild-eyed, he locked eyes with Elias across the polished mahogany table. And in that electric instant, he felt the ground shift, not just the city's fate, but something deeper, more treacherous, stirring in his chest like a storm he couldn't outrun. Elias Kane didn't flinch. He never did. At 35, he had built an empire on unyielding steel and sharper instincts, his gray eyes cutting through boardrooms like a blade. Tonight, though, as this intruder, lean, soaked, with defiance etched into every line of his 28-year-old face, shouted accusations of greed and betrayal, Elias felt an unfamiliar crack in his armor. The young man's voice, raw and laced with the accent of someone who'd clawed his way up from the fog-shrouded alleys of the Castro, carried a fire that both enraged and ensnared him. "You're killing us." "Kane, for what?" "Another penthouse view." Alex spat, slamming a fistful of damning documents onto the table. Blueprints, emails, proof of backroom deals with city council cronies. The board members shifted uncomfortably, but Elias rose slowly, his 6'3" frame casting a shadow that swallowed the room. He was used to silencing threats with a glare or a check. But this one smelled of salt air and unfiltered truth, the kind that lingered like the bay's mist. "Mr. Rivera," Elias said, his voice a low rumble that brooked no argument. "Passion is admirable, but facts, they're mine to bend." He stepped closer, close enough to catch the faint scent of rain and rebellion on Alex's skin. And for a heartbeat, the air thickened with something neither man could name, a pull, magnetic and forbidden. Born of the shadows, they both hid. Alex held his ground, chin lifted, his green eyes blazing. He'd come here on a suicide mission, fueled by nights of anonymous hookups in dimly lit bars where he could pretend the world didn't hate men like him, and days rallying tenants against evictions that mirrored his own fractured past. Orphaned young, raised in foster homes that taught him love was a luxury he couldn't afford, Alex had channeled that ache into journalism, undercover exposés for a scrappy online outlet that barely paid the rent on his tiny Haight-Ashbury walk-up. But Elias Kane? He was the dragon in the tale, the one who'd risen from a trailer park in the Central Valley, gay and closeted since his first fumbling kiss at 16, burying his desires under layers of boardroom conquests and whiskey neat. No one knew the man behind the suit, not even the string of discreet escorts who left his Pacific Heights mansion before dawn. As security loomed in the doorway, Elias raised a hand, halting them. "Leave us," he commanded, and the room emptied like a receding tide. Alone now, the two men circled each other, the city lights twinkling mockingly through floor-to-ceiling windows. "You think you can waltz in here and topple me?" Elias murmured, his breath warm against Alex's ear as he leaned in, ostensibly to retrieve a stray paper. But his fingers brushed Alex's wrist, accidental, electric, and Alex jerked back as if burned. "I think I can try," Alex shot back, his voice cracking just enough to betray the fear coiling in his gut. Not of the man, but of the heat blooming low in his belly, the way Elias's presence filled the space like smoke. He turned to leave, but Elias's hand clamped on his arm, firm yet not cruel. Stay. Talk to me. It wasn't a request. And damn if Alex didn't wanted to unravel the enigma staring back at him, to see if the ice had fire. But he yanked free, storming out into the elevator, heart racing, unaware that in that fleeting clash, he'd ignited a war on two fronts, one for the city he loved, and one for the soul he'd never meant to claim. The next morning dawned gray and unforgiving, the fog rolling in thick from the bay like a shroud over Alex's resolve. He nursed a black coffee in his cluttered apartment, surrounded by stacks of research, emails from displaced families, photos of bulldozed community gardens, whispers of corruption that could sink Kane's empire if he played it right. His phone buzzed, a text from his editor. Mia, a fierce dyke in her 40s who'd mentored him through his coming-out chaos. You crazy? Storming Apex? Get the story. But don't get yourself killed. He smirked. Typing back, Kane's got skeletons. I'm digging. But as he scrolled through last night's footage, grainy cell phone video of their confrontation, already viral in activist circles, Alex paused on a freeze frame of Elias's face. Those eyes, stormy and searching, held a vulnerability that clawed at him. Was it pity? No. Something sharper, like recognition. Alex shook it off, grabbing his notebook and heading out, weaving through the mission's vibrant chaos to carry his spilling salsa scents. Murals of Aztec warriors glaring down on gentrified cafes. He interviewed Rosa, a 60-year-old abuela whose apartment Kane's plan would raise. He's a devil in silk, she said, crossing herself. But you, Mijo, you fight like my late husband did for the unions. Don't let him break you. By afternoon, Alex was knee-deep in a protest rally at Embarcadero, hundreds strong chanting against Apex's proposal. Banners fluttered. No evictions. No Kane. He climbed a makeshift stage, microphone in hand, his voice rising above the din. This isn't about profit. It's about people. Elias Kane wants to erase us. But we're the heartbeat of this city. Cheers erupted, fist pumping. But Alex's gaze snagged on a figure at the crowd's edge, Elias. Incognito in a hoodie and jeans that hugged his frame too well. Arms crossed, watching with an intensity that sent a shiver down Alex's spine. Their eyes met across the sea of bodies, and Alex faltered mid-sentence, the words tangling. Elias didn't smile, didn't wave, just nodded once, a ghost of acknowledgement, before melting into the throng. It unnerved Alex more than any threat. The man wasn't just ruthless. He was haunted, circling like a wolf scenting prey, or perhaps kin. That night, exhaustion pulled Alex into a dive bar in the Castro, rainbow flags limp in the humid air. He sipped a gin and tonic, flirting absently with a bartender named Theo. All tattoos and easy grins. Heard you took on Kane today, Theo said, sliding him a free shot. Ballsy. Guy's got the city in his pocket. Alex shrugged, but his mind replayed Elias's touch, the unintended brush that lingered like a brand. When his phone lit up, an unknown number. We need to talk. Your place. Now. Alex's pulse spiked. He gave the address without thinking, a reckless pull drawing him under. Elias arrived 20 minutes later, the hoodie discarded, back in his suit but rumpled, as if he'd fought traffic and demons on the drive. Alex let him in, the apartment suddenly too small, too exposed with its posters of Harvey Milk and half-read queer theory books. "What the hell do you want?" Alex demanded, but his voice lacked bite, curiosity edging in. Elias paced, hands in pockets, the CEO facade cracking. "Your evidence, it's half the story. The other half is bribes from competitors trying to sabotage me. I fight dirty, Rivera, but not that dirty." He stopped. Close again. His cologne, cedar and storm, invading Alex's space. "And you're not just a thorn. You're under my skin." Alex laughed, bitter and disbelieving. Flattery? Save it for the shareholders. But he didn't step back. Couldn't. As Elias's gaze dropped to his lips, the air humming with unspoken want. In the gay underground of San Francisco, where closets were relics and pride parades thundered annually, Alex had learned to spot desire. This was it, raw and risky, from a man who could ruin him with a phone call. "I don't do flattery," Elias growled, closing the gap, his hand cupping Alex's jaw with a gentleness that belied his reputation. Their kiss was inevitable, a collision of fury and famine, lips crashing, tongues tangling in a battle neither wanted to win. Alex tasted whiskey and regret, Elias desperation and dominance. Hands fisting shirts, bodies pressing until the wall met Alex's back. It was fire, forbidden and fierce. But as Elias pulled away, eyes dark with conflict, Alex saw the truth. This wasn't conquest. It was surrender. They broke apart, breathing ragged, the city's hum filtering through the cracked window. "This changes nothing," Elias said, but his voice trembled. "The project goes forward." Alex shoved him toward the door, anger surging anew. "It changes everything. You bastard. Get out." Alone again, he slid to the floor, the taste of Elias lingering like a promise or a poison. The fight for the city had just gotten personal, and in the shadowed corners of his heart, Alex wondered if he could save them both without losing himself. Days blurred into a frenzy of strategy and stolen glances. Alex's article dropped online at dawn, a blistering takedown laced with leaked docs, going viral before his morning coffee cooled. Protests swelled, blocking Apex trucks at the docks, while City Hall buzzed with investigations. Elias countered with press releases, painting Alex as a radical agitator. But privately, he unraveled. Board meetings dragged, his focus splintering on memories of that kiss, the way Alex's body yielded yet challenged, awakening hungers he'd starved for years. Elias's past haunted him, the valley boy who'd fled beatings from his father after being caught with a neighbor's son, building walls of wealth to fortify his isolation. Women on his arm for show, deals sealed in smoke-filled rooms where vulnerability was death. Now, Alex, vibrant, unapologetic, threatened it all, forcing Elias to confront the man he'd buried. He tracked Alex to a community center in the Mission, with a younger man organized legal aid for threatened tenants. Slipping in unnoticed, Elias watched from the shadows as Alex joked with kids, his laugh lighting the drab room like bay sunlight. When their eyes met, Alex's face hardened, but he didn't call security, just jerked his head toward a side office. "Stalking now," Alex hissed, door clicking shut behind them. "Investigating," Elias replied, but his tone softened. Your story's gaining traction. Council might halt the vote. Alex crossed his arms, the t-shirt stretching over his chest. Good. Now leave. But Elias stepped closer, vulnerability cracking through. I can't. Not after. Us. His hand hovered, then dropped. I grew up hiding. Alex. Every deal, every win, it's armor. But you see through it. The confession hung heavy, mirroring Alex's own scars. The foster dad who'd called him fairy, the first boyfriend who'd ghosted after coming out went public. Hiding's easy, Alex said quietly. Living's the fight. He reached out, fingers tracing Elias's jaw, the touch igniting them both. This time, the kiss was slower, exploratory, Elias's hands gentle on Alex's waist, Alex's fingers threading through salt and pepper hair. They sank onto a worn couch, clothes shedding like old skins, bodies mapping uncharted territories with reverence and need. In the afterglow, tangled and sated, Elias whispered, "Help me fix this. The project, I'll pull it back. Retool for affordable housing. But we do it together." Alex's heart swelled, hope flickering. Why now? Because you make me want to be better. Braver, but trust was a fragile thing. That night, as they parted with a lingering embrace on Alex's stoop, a black SUV idled across the street. Elias's security, or worse, paranoia crept in, but so did possibility. For the first time, Alex saw a path where love didn't demand sacrifice. The backlash hit like a tidal wave. Leaked recordings, doctored, Alex suspected, surfaced, twisting his words into calls for violence. Doxers flooded his inbox with slurs, the ugliest aimed at his sexuality, faggot activist ruining real men. Protests turned ugly, clashes with police leaving bruises on allies. And Mia pulled him aside. Lay low. Kid. Kane's playing hardball. Elias, meanwhile, faced his own inferno. Shareholders revolted at the project's pivot, demanding blood. In a tense summit at his office, Elias stared down the wolves. We're adapting. San Francisco thrives on reinvention. So will we. But doubt gnawed. Had he softened for a man who could destroy him? Fate collided at a midnight gala. Apex's annual fundraiser at the De Young Museum. Chandeliers glittering over black ties and gowns. Alex crashed it. Tux borrowed and ill-fitting. Determination his only accessory. He cornered Elias on the balcony. City lights sprawling below like a lover's promise. This charade, it's killing us both. Elias turned. "Ty ask you." Eyes weary. "You think I don't know? What exposure? My board. My family. They'd bury me. Then fight for real," Alex urged. Hand on his chest. "Come out with me. Show the city a man worth saving." The words hung. A gauntlet thrown. Elias pulled him into shadow. Their kiss desperate. Hands roaming under starlit sky. But sirens wail below, protesters breaching barriers, and chaos erupted. In a melee, Alex shielded a young queer kid from a baton swing, taking the blow himself, blood blooming on his temple. Elias found him amid the fray, scooping him up, barking orders at stunned security. "Get into my car now." The drive to the hospital was a blur. Elias's hand clasped over Alex's, whispering, "Don't you dare leave me." In the sterile ER, stitches fresh. Alex woke to Elias dozing in the chair. Suit rumpled, vulnerability laid bare. You came, Alex murmured. Always, Elias vowed, leaning to kiss his knuckles. I called off the project. Full stop. Affordable units. Community input. Your vision. Tears pricked Alex's eyes. And us. Elias's smile was tentative. Real. Us is the win. As dawn broke, they left arm in arm. The city awakening to headlines. Kane halts development. Bows to activists. Whispers followed. But Elias held his head high. Alex at his side. In quiet moments later, over coffee in bed or walks along the Embarcadero, they built something unbreakable. Love forged in fire. A testament to courage's quiet power. Yet shadows lingered. A rival exec, sensing weakness, unearthed Elias's past, photos from his youth, blurry but damning. Blackmail arrived, resign, or be outed. Elias showed Alex the envelope, hands shaking. I was going to tell the world on my terms. Now, Alex's jaw set. We tell it ours. They went public together, a joint presser. Hands linked. Elias's voice steady. I'm gay. Proudly. And the man beside me, he's my partner. My conscience. The reason Apex serves people now. The storm raged, stocks dipped. Bigots bayed, but allies surged, pride flags at rallies. Editorials praising reinvention. Rosa hugged them both, tears flowing. You saved more than bricks. Mijo, in the end, as they stood on the waterfront. Groundbreaking for the new community center under a rainbow-streaked sky. Elias pulled Alex close. You fought for the city. Thank you for fighting for me. Alex grinned, heart full. We saved each other.